But this is going to be the second episode in the series covering all the different splinters and their unique strategies and combos. In today's episode, we'll be covering my favorite splinter, which is water. So just to begin with, we're going to do what we did last time, and we're going to quickly look at the different splinters and try and understand how water was meant to be played, and then I'm just going to give a bit of detail on the summoners. So from the past, you can already see that with beta, that the way the summoners were meant to be played is that water's meant to be magic, just heavy magic focus, giving you +1 magic or +1 magic with speed and health with the legendary. Very expensive. I mean, even this rare is super expensive. He's the most expensive rare summoner of beta collection, and there's a good reason for it, because +1 magic is so strong compared to the rest. The justification and also help explain why Alric is so expensive is no other summoners do this, and if you were to look at the +1, if you were to go to dragon and we looked at dragon summoners, if you were to give +1 to ranged, it only costs 3 mana, still a lot of money, but it would only cost you 3 mana to give you +1 ranged. If you were to do melee, it would be 4 mana to give you +1 melee. And if you were to do magic, it would be 5 mana. So you can already tell in terms of importance between these three how broken magic is. And the reason magic is so broken is that it doesn't have the handicaps of either of the two. So ranged, if it gets into position 1, it can't attack. Melee has to be in position 1, or it has to be an assassin in order to attack. But magic can attack from anywhere, like a ranged or melee. And then also on top of that, it also has the bonus of ignoring armor. So that's just why those two are so strong and so expensive. Anyway, so we're going back to beta. When Untamed rolled out, they wanted to make water less of a one-trick pony that only focused on magic, and they basically made it a more counter deck. So they wanted options like negative magic as well as armor plus return fire and blind. It was more of a reactive deck then, so it's like, oh, if I can see that my enemy plays like magic, or my enemy has played a lot of magic games, then I can play a -1 magic and counter his magic. Or if he plays a lot of like Zaku and Mongoose, you just drop this in to get the armor plus return fire. It's a pretty good card. And then Dice rolled in, and Dice is just shit. Like, I don't know what they would. I think this was just a filler. Like, this is such a shit summoner. Like, the only reason you'd play her is like in Earthquake, and even then you'd rather play the Dragon Summoner Bright and Bloom. Like, I really hate Vera. I don't know why they made her, but yeah, an absolute piece of shit. There's so many archers that have nets and snares. And then yeah, just to end off in terms of the importance of the different summoners and how good they are, you can actually kind of see it by their price. So coming in at number 1 is Valnamore. It's the OG, it's the super strong summoner that will basically help carry you through any league. Like, I use this is probably my most used summoner in Gold League on the Killing Queen. If I had it, I would probably be my most used summoner on the Connorman. Then it would be an Alric. So both of these are super strong. So Val comes at number 1. Then it would be Alric. Then it would be a Bortus, just because a super strong level 3 that -1 helps counter both these two, so it makes it a little bit more viable. Then it would be your Sia Chan, just because having that level 2 comes in use. It's like very useful. The main reason it's very useful is that if it ever becomes silent summoners, as well as the fact that if you only owned, let's say you own these two, and they suddenly had a no magic rule, but all your best cards are on water, you can still just use a CSE Chan and get that 1 extra mana advantage. And then afterwards, I would then say Little Deep Swimmer, because he's very situational, being you gotta kind of know that they're gonna play lots of archers, and even then he's not the best option, but he's still not the worst. And then coming in last is Vera. I don't like her, but she is what she is. So what you can tell from water decks is basically how water used to be a one-trick pony, giving you +1 magic, and just being only about that magic life, but now it's shifted away from that and become more of a countering or reactive deck. So if they're going to play lots of flying minions because you know it's going to be an earthquake, you've got the Dice Summoner to snare them. If they've been playing lots of magic cards, you know that you got a Bortus to react with the -1. And if they've been playing lots of Prince Rene or Mongoose, you can react with the Little Deep Swimmer to get the return fire as well as blind. So that's what has become. And as I said, in the fire deck, and we used the example that fire is very good at being melee focused and as well as archer focused, that they shouldn't really play magic, but they do have some of the best magic cards in the game. So all decks will include assassins, tanks, magic, archers, defensive and aggressive units, but you can kind of see how water is a little bit slower, with most of the minions being very, very slow in terms of speed. So we'll call that a little bit more defensive or counter-reactive. And then on top of that, water has some of the best tanks in the game, as well as some of the best magic cards in the game. So a very typical strategy could just be a few tanks in the front, followed up with lots of good magic. And then the other thing you can do is play a anti-magic water deck, which is what I used to play. So if you do not have a Val plus a Ruler of the Seas and you don't want to spend all that kind of money, I'll show you how you can play water the cheap way, which is how I play it. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly go through my own water deck and explain what's good and what's bad, why I like it, and what cards I would recommend you buy. So if we go to my cards, and I'm the biggest preacher of this, which is if you don't have lots of money, don't buy beta cards. Just buy Untamed and Dice editions, because when Chaos Legion comes out in a few months and beta gets shifted to the wild format, you can still be relevant and you can still have a good deck using Untamed and Chaos Legion in the standard format, and you don't have to play the wild format and invest too much money. So if you're on a budget, you should invest purely in Untamed. But that said, I have bought some beta cards because there are some beta cards that are just worth it and you should invest in. So for example, when I said that water has some of the best tanks in the game, it really does. This is the worst tank of the lot. So in terms of Untamed tanks, the Serpent isn't strong at all. He's got lots of speed, he's got lots of damage, but his armor and his HP is lackluster. But in terms of a secondary tank, something like a Lobster is super, super strong, giving you that magic damage, a lot of HP, magic reflect plus shield, great combo for a secondary tank. But then in terms of things like reward tanks, all these are cards that I own. So two of my favorite tanks in this game is the older edition is a sea monster, so if you can get your hands on it, a shit ton of HP, a shit ton of damage, heal plus thorns, great tank. Or something like a Torhelio the Frozen, great damage, bad speed, but great armor, great HP, plus it helps with anti-magic, so Void plus Bortus, and this guy just doesn't take any damage from magic cards. If we go to promos, I haven't put any tanks there. And then yeah, just the other tanks that I really like a Frost Giant is also super strong. Unfortunately doesn't have any armor. But then something like a Frozen Soldier also, he's got shield, and if you get him to a high level, he will have magic reflect, so he's probably my all-time favorite. But great armor, bad HP, but only costing 6 mana. So super, super strong. So in terms of the different tanks, I recommend a Frozen Soldier, I recommend a Frost Giant. If it's little minions, I recommend a Spineback Turtle. I don't like the Serpent of Eld, but you can take it if you've got no better choice. And then the reward tanks are the two best. Sea Monster and Torhilio the Frozen. Super, super strong options. So highly recommend all those. In terms of magic cards, I don't actually have very good magic cards in my water deck. I have much better like archer cards. So something like my Pirate Captain that I got to level 6 is great. Pirate Archer with Explosion is great. Giant Squid with Blind is great. Harpoonist is strong. Axemaster is strong. Poseidon is strong. A lot of great archer cards actually. And then yeah, I don't actually have very strong magic cards in this deck because magic cards are expensive, because I already explained why magic is so good. Like, I've got a decent Coral Wraith, and Coral Wraith is cool, but because I don't have the... So basically, because I don't have the plus magic damage cards in this deck, I basically built my water deck not to include too much magic. I have like one Phantom of the Abyss, I haven't leveled it up, I should. My Mermaid doesn't even do damage. I've got a Sea-Chan, I've got a Captain's Ghost. My Naga Windmaster's level 6, so he can play in gold. But like, I can tell you which cards I recommend you buy, but you can just quickly see from my deck, oh, he doesn't have them. So for example, some cards that I don't own, but I would recommend you would buy if you want, is... Oh, I do have one of those actually. I own a gold Crustacean King. But if you were to get a higher level one and they give you Protect, it's even better. I think you need level 5. But yeah, I highly recommend cards like your Spineback Turtle, your Crustacean King, your Sea Monster. Get your Albatross to a high enough level that it gives heal. 1 HP flying minion with heal is great. Well, not heal, team heal, which is even better. Super, super strong. If you can afford the magic, get the magic. Cards like Medusa are great. Other cards like Water Elemental are really strong, purely for games like Poison or Toxin, followed up with like Earthquakes. Just having that self-heal is very, very good. I had Ice Pixie is such a strong magic card as well. You want that leveled up. You want your Captain's Ghost to be high leveled. You want your Coral Wraith. You don't really use your Lobster as much as you'd think, but you'd want things like Ruler of the Seas, and yeah, a Kraken's also... Sorry, Kraken's the one tank that I don't own, but it's probably the most iconic tank in the game, so I'm sorry I forgot about it. But these are all just like really, really strong magic cards and how to play them and what to get. But you can see that from my magic cards, I just play anti-magic. So I'm going to play a game or two now for you guys. So my plan is I'm going to play 1 or 2 games on my account, and then I'm going to switch over to the gold account and just show you how it's really done. Okay, I'm going to mute just to be nice. Okay, so quickly to explain how, just to quickly finalize the team and why we built it. We put a chicken in the front because he's got 1 speed, so he's not going to attack first. We went Bortus because there's no archers, so we kind of assumed they're either going to go full magic or full melee damage. And then we went Torhilio to go up with that. In case they went lots of magic, we followed that with a Prismatic Energy. And then we put a Feasting Seaweed in the middle because he is going to be the star of this deck, just eating everything. We got our legendary just with flying and dodge in the back, so if they do have stealth, he'll start dancing. And then we just put an Ice Pixie in the back because it's got a shield, so if they do use stealth, which they are, it's going to take a few hits to kill the Pixie first. So she'll just basically tank 1 or 2 hits for us. And yeah, let's see how this goes. Okay, so the magic's already killed the first tank, but they haven't even killed the chicken yet. Their 2 stealth assassins killed our guy in the back, but now we can... So this is doing 0 damage to the Torhilio, and now these 2 are just going on a field day. And done. Let me show you one more example. So even though it says I'm level 5 and I'm fighting in gold, you can tell that my levels are still only meant to be in silver in terms of a level 3 epic, a level 2 epic, a level 3, a level 4 common, and a level 5 rare. So maybe not the level 5 rare, but everything else. And then he's got some level 4s. Okay, so he's also meant to be in silver. But just looking at this, ooh, I think we win. We don't have anything to get to that explosion, so maybe we don't. But maybe they miss a lot with blind. Okay, so that's one little guy dead. Okay, big hit. Oh, good miss. I think we win. Yeah. Cool. So this is kind of how you play it. They haven't played too much magic against it. It's been 2 fires, but that's how you play a anti-magic water deck. Now I'm going to switch on to my gold deck, and you can see. Okay, so without looking at the enemy's team, just to confirm, the way our strat's going to work is we've got 1 tank in the front, giving magic reflect plus shield. We've got 1 tank in the back with shield. We got 2 carries, which will then be the Ruler of the Seas plus the Poseidon, both having explosion. Then we got the Mermaid Healer, giving him a little bit more HP because he needs it, as well as the fact that she can also heal the backline tank. We got the Tortoise Chief to heal the frontline tank, and then we literally just have the Pixie because it's a 2 mana super good flying magic user. And we look at this team, apart from the fact that they're all level 1s versus level fucking 5s and 6s, so I feel really bad, but you can already tell that this team's just gonna clap. So first shot is the Pixie, then it's the Ruler, he already kills that, moves on to the next. This is also just a really badly laid out team. This must be a bot. If you're not a bot, I'm sorry, guy. I don't know what you're doing with level 1s in gold division. You should not be here. Bye, Felicia. So please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments what you want me to do next. And if you're a new player, please use the promo code and I'll happily send you the $0.5 back to you. It just lets me know that people are watching and using the promo, and I'm helping new players join the community. Also, if you find me on the Discord, just pop me a message. I'll happily delegate any of the new players some power